Hassan.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and Ranking Member Peters, and thank you, Acting Secretary McAleenan, for being here to discuss all these important topics. Mr. Secretary, as I'm sure you are aware, convicted American Taliban fighter John Walker Lind is reportedly being released from federal prison today. Last week, Senator Shelby and I sent a letter to the Bureau of Prisons expressing concern over the anticipated release of John Walker Lind, as well as 108 other terrorist offenders scheduled to be released in the next 5 years. One of our concerns is the lack of adequate process to notify federal, state, and local officials when a terrorist offender will be released. Mr. McAleenan, do DHS fusion centers receive information from the Bureau of Prisons or Probation and Pretrial Services regarding the release of a terrorist offender? And what's your process for sharing this information with local authorities?
That's a good question, Senator. I'll look into that and get back to you on that.
Okay, so moving forward, can I count on you to work with relevant agencies to develop a strategy to ensure that all necessary federal, state, and local officials have the information that they need to keep communities safe when these individuals are released?
Yes.
Thank you. Later today, I'm headed to the southern border with Chairman Johnson and Ranking Member Peters and Senator Hawley to assess the situation on the ground. I took a similar trip last year to talk to port officers and ICE detention officers. I was impressed by my visits to El Paso and McAleenan, Texas, where I saw the robust screening effort conducted by CBP of incoming traffic from Mexico. And we talked a little bit just now about some of the technology that helps officers kind of immediately see what's different in a car that to the surface looks like a typical car. However, stopping the drug cartels is not solely a matter of securing traffic coming into the United States. We have to attack the cartel's business model. That means stopping the flow of both drug money and weapons that travel southbound into Mexico from the United States. Unfortunately, as I saw on my trip last year, our current southbound screening effort is inadequate. We were told we need expanded facilities, more personnel, and updated technology in order to try to strengthen our ability to stop the flow of guns and money back into the cartel's hands. So, Mr. McAleenan, I will ask you the same question that I asked Secretary Nielsen last year. Are you satisfied with the current state of southbound inspections?
No, I agree strongly with you that we can do more. And part of the non-intrusive inspection equipment that we're going to be purchasing with the FY19 funding will go to outbound lanes. But to your point, we've been doing outbound alongside our Border Patrol agents and CBP officers jointly. We don't have agents available to do outbound right now. They're doing the inbound humanitarian mission. So we also can improve our efforts in coordination with the government of Mexico. So I think there's a lot to do in that area, and we can get stronger.
Okay. Do you think, given the numbers and the humanitarian crisis that we're seeing now, I'm taking that you wouldn't say we've made real progress on this issue since last year on southbound?
The one area we're making progress is in acquiring the systems that will help us screen more vehicles going southbound in more K-9 teams.
Okay.
But and in our overall hiring of CBP officers that will strengthen our base on the southwest border. But no, with our agents now redeployed on humanitarian missions, with a new government coming in and establishing new relationships on the investigative side, I think we can do a lot more this year.
Okay. And so one of the other things I heard last year was that it may take some work and planning with local authorities on both the north and south side of the border to configure things in a way that allows those inspections to take place without interfering with local traffic and the like. Is that something that you guys have been addressing?
Absolutely. No, every port of entry has plans for how to do outbound inspections, given their unique flow of traffic, given the unique configuration of the footprints of ports of entry, which again have been there for a long time and were designed at a much lower volume of flow, both north and southbound. So yes, that we have plans locally for increased outbound efforts.
Well, I would look forward to working with you on that, and I'll take this as a commitment to continue to work on that, because I really think till we get to the southbound flow, we're not going to break up these business models.
Important aspect of the mission, I agree.
Okay. Mr. McAleenan, back in March, I requested from Secretary Nielsen the case files for the reported 245 child separations that had occurred since a federal judge ruled that these separations must end. Understanding the need for privacy and confidentiality, I would have accepted redacted names and addresses. A week after my request, a representative from CBP followed up to say that you, as Commissioner of CBP, could brief me on this matter, but not until 7 weeks after my initial request. We responded with dates and times that worked, but heard nothing back from your office until just 2 days ago, 10 weeks after my request, when your office replied to say that you could not provide specific information on these 245 cases. I'll also note that just this week, reports surfaced that, as we've talked about, 16-year-old Carlos Vasquez has died in federal custody at the border, the 5th child to die, and just last night, as Senator Peters pointed out, we learned about a 6th child's death after apprehension by border agents. This is incredibly disturbing and raises more serious questions about the treatment of children at the border. I know you care about it, but we obviously have to be able to implement real plans here to prevent these kinds of tragedies from happening. Can you provide any update on the cases of these 245 separated children for us, or about what CBP is doing to provide more accountability for the treatment of children at the border?
So first of all, I'll go back and look at your oversight request and make sure we're responding appropriately and timely. Thank you for raising. I was not aware that we had been delayed in that response. Secondly, I just want to emphasize that any separation that's occurring now is occurring for the benefit of the safety of the child. This is in compliance with the court order in Miss L. It's compliance with the executive order from the President from June 20th of last year. So we're seeing that even though we have 1,500 to 2,500, some days over 3,000 families, a separation is only occurring 1 to 3 times a day. So it's extraordinarily rare and under very controlled circumstances.
So I thank you for that answer, and because I'm running out of time, I want to be respectful of the time here. But I want to say that this is not all necessarily on you and your agents, but this administration has given a variety of stories about family separation since they even officially began. So you can understand that from an oversight point of view, in order to protect children, we need this information, and we need to engage with you to ensure that what your intentions are, what you're saying to me now, is actually what's happening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Senator Paul.